Hey ladies and gents, we're back with some World of Warships, and I am playing the Hood, a Tier 7 British premium battleship. The mighty Hood, mind you. She was the largest warship in the world for for 20 years. Roughly, actually over 20 years. She was launched in 1918 at 860 feet. Now, think about that. She was only 27 feet shorter than the Iowa-class battleships that were built in 1940. In the 40s, I'm sorry, and only four feet narrower. Now, the thing that's interesting about Hood, of course, we all know the battle between her and the Bismarck. In 1916, she was laid down, and there was a lot of design changes after the Battle of Jutland. Now, if we remember the Battle of Jutland, the British battle cruisers, in fact, that's what the Hood was, got the shit kicked out of them. Like, so bad, BD actually said, there's something bloody wrong with our ships today. And along those lines. So, from the lessons they learned at Jutland, she was essentially up-armored. Around 5,000 tons of armor, which made her sit 4 feet lower in the water than she was originally designed to do. She actually had another nickname, which she was called the largest submarine in the world, because at high speeds or in heavy seas, her deck tended to be covered in water. Yeah, that's how much extra weight they added to her. I fully loaded. She was at 48,000 tons. She was a big lady. I'll give her that. Like I said, hence the term, the mighty Hood. She carried 8 15-inch guns, which, honestly, when she 1920s, she was probably the most powerful warship in the world, up until, of course, the Musashi, the Yamato, the Iowas, even the Bismarck into that series. But the Bismarck, was roughly about 30 feet shorter and weighed just a little bit more. But she, of course, had better guns. Now, when we get to the fight with the Bismarck, and that's always kind of what we think about when we think of the Hood, of course, is that when she fought the Bismarck. Now, you got to remember in 1939, she was expected to have a complete overhaul. What I mean by that, she cannot get to her design top speed of 32 knots. Her machinery was old. Her fire control was old. She didn't have any radar. They were going to do some upgrades to her armor and that kind of stuff. So she really wasn't obsolete, as more along the lines, she was just old. However, in 1939, war broke out, so it was put on hold because it was going to cost a lot of money to get her fixed up. However, in 1941, she was the only real answer they had at the time to deal with the breakout of Bismarck and the Prince into the North Atlantic. So she was, of course, sent out with the Prince of Black Wales to deal with the Bismarck. Now, the actual fight, there has been a lot of discussion over the years if she actually really she sank within the first 3 minutes of the engagement, whether or not anything that the Hood did sank her. From my understand of the mechanics behind it, she was slightly armored on the deck, but at the ranges they were fighting at, and the fact that the high velocity of the German shells the trajectory was so flat, she would need to bend right around 25,000 yards to get the plunging fire that would have gone through her deck. Initial engagement was opened at 21,000 yards, and it closed to within 17,000 yards when she blew up. So theoretically, there was no possible way that the Bismarck was able to, with her 15-inch shells, go through the deck of the Hood. However, one of the design flaws of the British battle cruisers is that the powder magazines on the British battle cruisers were located above the shells. And if any chance of there was going to be a fire or whatever, it immediately went to the powder room, and you can guess where that went. In fact, that was one of the leading causes of battle cruisers to be lost during Jutland, was the explosion of the magazines. So what we do know is that she was on fire shortly before she exploded. From what most people can guess is that most likely the fire reached her powder magazine, and that's what set her off. Not necessarily a penetration from the Bismarck, but more likely than not, it was the shitty design of the magazines, and of course, that she was on fire. One of those things. Now, like I said, there's tons and tons of theories of how she was destroyed. From everything from one of the 15-inch Bismarck shells going through a seam in the plates, to the fact that possibly one of her torpedoes blew up. She did carry torpedoes, surprisingly enough. And we're not talking about the ones mounted on the deck. These ones were actually mounted below water. And there's also a possibility that she could have been penetrated by a 15-inch shell well below her deck, or well below the waterline. We're talking some estimates of 20 feet below the waterline. She possibly could have been penetrated below her torpedo protection. But once again, the best we got out of the deal was most likely she caught fire, her powder magazine caught fire, and she blew up. Whether it was one from the 4-inch, yeah, nobody really knows. But that's the best get. So we're back to this fight here. Iron Duke finally finishes off the Molotov, and we got the Warspite currently inbound here. Now, I didn't push too hard into the Molotov because I didn't know what was over there. I did not want to get into a piss match. Obviously, the Molotov was almost dead, but there was the Iron Duke coming around the corner. And, of course, the Molotov also has torpedoes. So I didn't really want to eat too much right off the bat here, since we are 4 battleships over here against these 2 and the carrier. Alright, so our destroyer is making a hardcore push toward the cap. Not sure what that's all about, especially since there is especially since the carrier is still up. 2 battleships. They have a battleship right off cap. Yeah, I'm not terribly sure what this is all about here. But since he's gonna make a go for it here, I'm gonna try working on these guys here. Now there isn't much off to my left over here. We have 1 cruiser, 1 battleship, and of course the carrier. Now the carrier finally figured out where the fucking go button's at, and he's moved off the corner of the islands, and he's now trying to make a run for it, which means he's currently the focus of at least 2 battleships and a couple cruisers trying to kill him. Alright, we just sent up a couple toward the Iron Duke, and he is crafty devil. Look at him jink the shit out of that, right? Alright, let's see here. We gotta shorten that up a little bit here, the Iron Duke. He's not going real fast, but we want to try to get a couple shells into him. Because, you know, currently right now, they're all shooting at the carrier because that's what they do. They're not concerned with the Iron Duke as much as I am. I'm trying to knock the Iron Duke out here. I want to try to get them off of, because they're pushing right now toward that objective here. See if we can get a few more shells into the Iron Duke. It's a nice 2136 for 1 penetration. And he's at 59. He's also on fire, so that's not too bad. Warspite's down to 8,000. Let's see if we can get him off of that cap here. Not that I want to cap that quickly. And for some reason, they're pushing pretty hard toward that destroyer, who doesn't seem to give a shit because he has no smoke popped, and he is slamming shells there at the Iron Duke, who's turning his turrets the other way. There we go. Iron Duke is dead. Warspite also as well looking at the destroyer. Now, here comes a... Alright, see if we can get one more... Never mind. Warspite is dead. Iron Duke finishes him off here. And we are sitting 445, 339. Here comes the Scharnhorst. He finishes off our carrier, which isn't surprising, I guess. So we're gonna have to get away from this here. So there's the carrier still there. 3 battle pushing south, and we got it currently inbound here. There's the Helena. Give me your broadside, baby. Oh, it looks so good. Yeah, I think that's good. Yep, that's good. Finishes off the Helena, and we have the Scharnhorst. Now, Scharnhorst, of course, is my same tier as I am, so this could be a little bit more interesting. The Caesar is moving off. There is a Koning involved here, too, so he's got a little bit less health than I do. And he's also currently shooting at the cruiser. I'm not terribly sure what the cruiser off to my right, or my left, my left was doing. I don't know if I would try to go broadside with that Scharnhorst, but he did. So I lead a little too much here. Don't know why. I had a couple of minutes of like, what the fuck, Zem? Alright, we get 1 penetration on the Scharnhorst. Alright, we're going to have to not get deleted here. We're going to give him a little bit of an angle. He's looking at me now. And the Caesar has slowed down. Oh, there's the Koenig. He's got 34,000 health. Let's see if we can take a spot shot there. Maybe get a Citadel, possibly. He's turned away from it a little bit. He's got a little bit of an angle, so that might not be such an easy thing. Oklahoma finishes off the Shiriatsu. And we have... Alright, now I'm in range of the Scharnhorst. I'm a little worried, too, of course, with the whole torpedo thing here. So we're going to see if we can possibly break a few of his turrets. Alright. He's coming straight at me. There we go. He's not interested in me, so we're just going to put a couple shells in there. And he finishes off the Caesar. Alright. We're not going to give him a broadside, of course. So he can shoot at my rear all he wants. And, of course, we still have lots of secondaries in action here. I'm not worried about his torpedoes at this moment because he's not close enough. He's just banging away at me with those secondaries here. Now, he's also within range of those other battleships here. Probably not a good chance I'm going to penetrate that, but that's alright. Shitty as my shooting's been lately, I was going to hit the upper superstructure anyway. Alright, we're going to stay at this angle because I'm also worried about that Koenig deciding he wants to see a broadside as well. Scharnhorst looks the other direction here. I'm rebuild my health back up to whatever it was. Way back up into the green. And we're just going to sit here and wait. Now, he's not paying a whole lot of attention. I think he realized that he was running kind of broadside to those 3 battleships. Alright, there we go. We got a nice 12,000 with 4 penetrations into the side of the Scharnhorst. Now we're going to wheel back over. He's not paying much attention. And the Koenig has kind of not really been shooting all that much at me. Alright, there's the Scharnhorst. So we're going to turn back toward the Koenig. Let's see if we can get all my guns around to the side here. Graf Spee finished off the Graf Spee. There's the first set. Not the greatest, boys. That's RNG for you. Let's try this one more time. Okay, now he looks like he's trying to come back toward me. There's another set. 3,400. We'll get the reload here shortly. And looks like he says, like, nah, I'm going to shoot at the hood. Take a little bit of damage here. He's still giving a lot of broadside to those guys to the south. So there's my next set of AP here. Ooh, nice hit on the Scharnhorst. He fires his rear. And let's do it one more time. Still angled to him, so I'm not have to worry about it too much. And there we go. Enough to finish him off. Puts us at a tied up game, 4-4. However, we have 4 battles against 2. Koenig puts a good thumping on me. But like I said, I have 3 heals. 3 repair, well, yeah, 3 heals left here, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Alright, so our 3 battleships are cruising down south. It's a 3-on-3 to the south, a 1-on-1 here. Not that I'm worried. The Koenig is below me, I guess, we want to call it in the tech tree. Now, surprisingly enough, the Koenig was only built about 4 years before the hood was laid down. So about 1912 she was launched. She carried 10 12-inch guns. And she was almost 300 feet shorter than the hood. And almost 20,000 pounds lighter. However, it doesn't mean crap because she still, of course, is a Koenig and she's German. So, yeah, there's that going for them. And I'm still a glorified speedboat with a crap ton of deck space that was never utilized. Now, surprisingly enough, after I was doing some reading, the hood was not going to be the last of the battle cruisers. There was another, they were called the G3 battle cruisers. And essentially they were going to be very similar to the Nelson class, where all of the main turrets would have been in the front of the ship, and the last half of the ship would have been just secondaries, places to launch aircraft and all that other stuff. Now, unlike the Rodney, or I'm sorry, the Nelson, well, I think unlike the Nelson, however, there would have been 2 turrets in the front. There would have been the, essentially the, whatever, forecastle tower, conning tower, whatever you want to call it. And then behind that would have been the last set of turrets, and they would have been pointing rearward. However, they never would have been able to shoot forward or to the rear. They would only have been able to shoot when the ship was broadside. Yeah. That was the G3. That was the next series of battlecruisers after the Admirals. Alright, yes, I had actually thought about this as well, of ramming the Koenig. However, I did not type it in to find out how much health the 3 battleships to the south had. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I probably could. Gonna aim for those. Still did not hit what I wanted. I wanted to actually nail the turn to knock them out. I did not know if the 3 to the south were really hurting. I'm thinking, oh, maybe possibly one's going to die here shortly. So if I ram this guy and they lose to the south, we still lose anyway. So I'm thinking, you know what? I got the health at 42,000. He's at 25,000. He's just coming into range now. Let's see if we can get that shot. Yeah, there we go. 5,800, 5,600. One more set in there. And we put him down to 8,900. All right, so I'm still at 41,000, and I'm turning hard right here. He is as well. I'm trying to keep my broadside off here so I don't get citadeled. All right, so we're at 42,000. I got my rebuild up and running shortly. And there's the big hit. He hits me. Ooh, nice hits. However, not enough to take me. And we're going to finish him off with the last set right about now. There we go. Yeah, good fight. Once again, this was running through my head. I'm thinking to myself, if I ram him, we are possibly. I'm not gonna win the South. But the fact that I'm, a higher tier than he is, I had more health, bigger guns. I mean, yeah, it could have ended the other way. I could have got citadeled, but like I said, I was trying to keep as much angle as possible with that ship and try to keep my guns on there as well. So the Texas finished off the Königsberg, and now we are up 4-1. I'm not going to get any closer to the other guys, so we are going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle with the Hood, and you guys have a good night.